Welcome back, degenerates, to Place Your Bets. I'm Tyler James with Spotty Wi-Fi, and he's the one and only Eric Hansen. We cover Notre Dame football, recruiting, and more for InsideNDSports.com on the Rivals Network. And we're back to make prop bets throughout the 2023 season. Last year, the Insider Lounge finished in a tie with me for first place, so we're adding a new wrinkle this year. Every subscriber will be able to compete on their own, which will allow us to have individual standings. The first place subscriber will win a free 12-month subscription to Inside ND Sports, and second place will get 6 months for free. I've shared all those details on the Insider Lounge for any subscriber who wants to participate, and I will include the thread with this week's prop bets in the video description as well. But of course, Eric and I will be competing on our own for bragging rights as well, and we'll share our picks with you every Friday before game day. So let's get to this week's prop bets for Notre Dame Navy so I can get back on the streets of Dublin, Ireland. All right, Eric, first one I have for us is over under 268.5 passing yards for Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman.
Well, I think Notre Dame is going to have to be kind of in a throw-first mode, and Navy knows that. And yet, I think the pass is going to open up the run game. So I don't think it's going to be a huge number like 300 yards. I also think if Notre Dame gets a lead and plays more disciplined and smarter than they did last year, they will be able to get Steve Angeli some snaps in this game. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well. I picked the number because 269 yards is what Drew Pine threw for last season against Navy. And Sam Hartman last year.
Almost all that in the first half.
yeah. And last season at Wake Forest, Sam Hartman threw for more than 269 yards in all but 2 starts last season. But I'm with you. I think the under is the safer bet. That I don't know that Notre Dame's going to need Sam Hartman to throw for a bunch of yards. I think they'll have a chance for some big plays early, but I don't know that they're going to be pushing the ball down the field into the second half a lot. So I will take the under as well.
This is also going to be, we should point out, this is also going to be the first game with a new rule where the clock runs when you get a first down. In college, it's up for the last 2 minutes of each half. In college, the clock would always stop to move the chain. So there's even going to be fewer plays and fewer possessions in this game.
All right. Next one I have for us is who will lead the Irish in receptions against Navy?
Well, I picked him to lead the Irish in receptions for the season, so I'm going to stick with Jaden Thomas as the leader of receptions in this game.
Yeah, I considered getting a little bit creative, but I went chalk here as well. I think Jaden Thomas is the number 1 receiver in this offense, and I think he will prove to be that against Navy on Saturday. All right, next one I have for us is over under 224.5 rushing yards for Navy.
Again, you could probably look historically and come up with a pretty good guess. But history doesn't help you a lot in this game because of Grant Chestnut's presence as the Navy offensive coordinator, and his background with spread offense and putting up a lot of points with a more balanced offense, throwing the ball and so forth. And we think that Navy is going to throw the ball more than they traditionally do in this game. And I also think Notre Dame's run defense is going to be better than it has been. So all those contributed to me into picking under.
All right, we're in agreement here. I for some reason, I'm just extremely confident in what Notre Dame's defense is going to be able to do against Navy. I think the Irish defense is in a really good headspace, and I think certainly the second half of that Navy game last year, as much as it left a sour taste in the mouths of the offense, I think the defense was disappointing the way that half played out as well. So I think that Notre Dame's defense is going to have a good performance and keep Navy under 224.5 rushing yards.
Just to the people that's watching this, Tyler has not been hitting the pints. He's just jet lagged. He hasn't had any sleep.
Well, I didn't say I haven't been hitting pints, but anyways, let's go to our next one, Eric. Who will score the first touchdown for Notre Dame?
Boy, it could really be anybody. I almost went off the board here and picked Hartman on a run, but I'm going to go with Audric Estime on a run. I mean, he's going to have a lot of touchdowns this year, so I think my odds increase because I'm playing for that year free subscription.
You're not giving up any freebies in terms of your answers. I am. I'm going to go with Chris Tyree. I think that one's a little bit off the board. I don't know that'll be a very popular pick, but I think there's a couple of different ways that he can get into the end zone. And I think I like his chances to have a big play here in Ireland.
And wearing number 4, his new uniform number.
That's correct. All right, next one. Over under 8.5 tackles for Notre Dame linebacker JD Bertrand.
So, the fact that there's some history in Dublin and in Ireland with his family and so forth, I think he's going to be pretty fired up. But I think Notre Dame is going to end up playing 4 guys kind of in that linebacker level box. And I think that's going to spread out the tackles too much for him to have 9. I also think Navy's going to want to get the ball out on the perimeter. Not that JD can't run to the perimeter, but I think it's going to create opportunities for other teammates. And so I'll go slightly under. I think he'll have a really good game, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over. I think he'll make up for some of the lost time last season, having to miss the game with an injury. And I expect him to sort of be all over the field. And I think what you said makes sense, that there will be a number of guys to spread the tackles around. But I just think that JD Bertrand, especially against the option, is in a good spot to continue to rack up tackles, which he has done throughout his career. All right, next one for fun. Will NBC show Bill the Goat, Navy's mascot, before the end of the first quarter?
And for those people that don't know, I have a fixation on this particular mascot. and it's probably not the same person inside that was when that happened. But there was a Navy Notre Dame game where I could not stop watching him. And so I am hoping that he is shown in the first quarter, and I am predicting that he will be shown in the first quarter, because usually it's somebody with a good sense of humor that has funny gestures and so forth. And I think that, and he seems to be able to find the camera too, but like if Notre Dame scores a touchdown, he'll be covering his face and stuff. So. Or maybe he'll be drinking a Guinness. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, regardless if the NBC cameras find him, I will be finding him from Aviva Stadium and get my binoculars trained on him well before the end of the first quarter, just to make sure that I know what Bill the Goat's up to. So I'm going to predict yes as well. All right. Lastly, what is your final score prediction for Notre Dame Navy?
I went Notre Dame 38, Navy 16.
All right. I have Notre Dame 42, Navy 10. I think Notre Dame builds up a pretty big lead early, and this time around is able to hold on to it in a much more safe fashion than it did last season in Baltimore. So a successful trip to Ireland for Notre Dame to get the season started, and hopefully a successful place your bets for everyone participating in our prop bet pool this season. So best of luck to everyone, and we will catch you next week.